When Doom 2016 launched, it was not just another first-person shooter. It was a wake-up call, not just to gamers, but to the entire industry. At a time when most big shooters were focused on cinematic set pieces, realistic visuals, and slow cover-based gunplay, Doom went the other way. It threw out the idea of hiding behind walls and waiting for your health to regenerate. It refused to lock you in scripted animations that made you feel like a passenger. Instead, it put a shotgun in your hands within seconds of starting, unleashed a swarm of demons, and told you to figure it out. From the very first moments, you could feel its confidence. There was no drawn-out tutorial, no 10-minute cutscene explaining the situation. You were the Doom Slayer, demons were here, and you had work to do. That kind of direct approach was rare in modern shooters, but it worked perfectly. Doom understood that the best way to teach you was to throw you into the chaos and let you learn by doing. One of the defining traits of Doom 2016 was speed. You were never encouraged to stop moving. The push-forward combat system was genius in how it blended survival with aggression. Health and armor were not found by camping in a corner, but by finishing enemies with glory kills or using the chainsaw to spawn ammo. This constant need to be in motion made fights feel alive. You could not just play passively. The game punished hesitation, but rewarded fearless momentum. And while that gameplay loop was addictive, it was a soundtrack that made it truly unforgettable. Mick Gordon created a score that blended heavy metal riffs with electronic distortion. It was not just background noise, it was part of the combat. The music ramped up as fights intensified, making every encounter feel like a headline arena show in the middle of hell. The beat pulled you forward, syncing perfectly with the flow of the action. The variety of demons kept things exciting. Imps scurried and leapt, forcing you to track them constantly. Possessed soldiers used ranged attacks to control space. Revenants flew around with jetpacks and unleashed rockets. Hell Knights charged straight at you with brutal melee hits. Cacodemons hovered overhead, demanding you manage vertical aiming. And then came the bosses, each designed as a test of everything you had learned. The Cyber Demons arena fight was a perfect example of how Doom made big enemies feel intimidating but beatable through skill. Weapons were another reason Doom stood out. You did not just have two at a time. You had a full arsenal, and switching between them mid-fight was seamless. The combat shotgun, plasma rifle, heavy assault rifle, rocket launcher, super shotgun, Gauss cannon, and of course the BFG, all felt powerful. Weapon mods allowed for secondary fire modes, like explosive shotgun shells or precision Gauss shots, without slowing the action. The chainsaw was not just a melee weapon, it was a resource management tool, instantly refilling your ammo when used on most enemies. Level design brought back the feel of the original games, while modernizing them. Each level was filled with branching paths, hidden secrets, and verticality. You could find Predator suit upgrades, weapon mods, and collectibles hidden behind platforming challenges. Classic Doom levels were tucked away as Easter eggs, letting you explore pixelated recreations of maps from the 90s within the new engine. This attention to exploration made levels worth revisiting. The story was smart in how it existed without getting in the way. There was plenty of lore for those who wanted it, explaining the Union Aerospace Corporation's experiments and the Doom Slayer's legendary history. But the Doom Slayer himself treated all of it as noise. He smashed monitors, ignored exposition, and kept moving. This approach respected players who were here for gameplay, while still rewarding those who enjoyed the deeper world building. Compared to other shooters of its era, Doom 2016 was almost rebellious. In a time when games like Call of Duty and Battlefield were slowing down movement and leaning into realism, Doom was unapologetically fast and violent. It did not care about military authenticity or emotional cutscenes. It cared about making you feel like the most dangerous thing in hell. That identity set apart and gave it staying power. Even multiplayer, while not as celebrated as a campaign, attempted to bring arena shooter principles into a modern format. It was fast, skill-based, and offered a change of pace from the single-player structured chaos. Snap Map, the build-and level creator, gave players a way to build their own arenas and even custom game modes. While not perfect, it showed that ID Software wanted Doom to be more than a one-note experience. Doom 2016 was also important for ID Software as a studio. After years of uncertainty about how to bring Doom back, This project proved they could honor the legacy of the original games while still creating something that felt fresh. The long development cycle included a full reboot of the concept after earlier ideas did not capture the right tone. What we got in the end was a confident, finely tuned game that felt like a statement piece. What truly made Doom 2016 special was its respect for the player. It trusted you to keep up with the speed. It trusted you to figure out the arenas, to master weapon switching, to take on fights with both brains and reflexes. And when you succeeded, it made you feel unstoppable. That sense of empowerment is something many modern shooters fail to deliver. Years later, Doom Eternal would build on the formula, adding more complexity and movement options. But Doom 2016 will always be remembered for being the game that brought the franchise roaring back to life. It was pure gameplay, pure chaos, and pure fun from start to finish. It reminded everyone why Doom was an icon in the first place. In a world full of games chasing the same trends, Doom stood apart. And it did so by staying true to what made it great in the first place.